This is Brian coming to you from the future. If you've never seen this movie and you don't know how it ends, do yourself a favor. Don't look it up. Just watch it.
Yes.
It's worth it for the ending alone. Now, I'm going to go back to the future now. Why is this movie called Tiptoes? Kyle, I need you to explain to me why this movie is called Tiptoes. I don't understand. Do you have any idea?
The only two things I can think of is that one is the rhetorical tiptoe thing where somebody is like tiptoeing around subjects and stuff like that. That's one option. But that doesn't happen because everybody's incredibly blunt in this movie.
It's true. But Matthew McConaughey does not tell.
He does tiptoe around the issue.
But not even really, though. He just doesn't tell her. That's not tiptoeing around the issue. That's
being insanely negligent is not quite the same as tiptoeing.
Hello and welcome back to the, what is it, 54th? I think so. 54th episode. Good, bad, or bad, bad. Show we watch terrible movies. Tell you if you should too. I'm your host, Mark Shilgo. The other host sitting right there, Mr. Kyle Hinton. Coming to you Friday morning. Not when we're filming this. It is Friday morning.
What?
Just the Friday before. Oh, another Friday, another episode of Good, Bad, or Bad, Bad. Today, we're talking about the 2003
movie
classic
ever.
Carol and Steven's life together was perfect.
I've got to get going.
Right this second. Hey, baby.
Hey, sweetie. I love you.
There's one small problem.
Bye.
Kyle, I had heard of this movie.
Yes.
Never seen this movie. Only thing I knew about this movie, was that Matthew McConaughey in it and Gary Oldman played a little person.
Yes.
Only things I knew about this movie.
I wanted to do this one back in the day. I watched it and I didn't quite get everything, and I didn't think it was quite where we were at.
I disagree.
And then I rewatched it and I was like, holy crap.
I disagree. I think if for no other reason than the, shall we say, finale of this film, I lost my mind watching it the other night. My girlfriend can attest. I was screaming in the living room like, what just happened? Really? What?
This has one of the greatest endings in any movie we've ever done.
Blew my fucking mind. I was like, cue the Tim and Eric gif of him, his mind being blown. Let's get right into it. We got nothing else to
I just want to talk about the cast real quick in this film.
Amazing cast.
It's amazing. Matthew McConaughey.
Yes.
Kate Beckinsale.
Yes.
You have Gary Oldman.
Yes.
There is Peter Dinklage.
Yes.
Of course. It's a movie about dwarves. Why would you not have Peter Dinklage?
I gotta talk about this right off the bat. So like I said, the only thing I knew about this movie, Gary Oldman was in it, Matthew McConaughey was in it, Gary Oldman plays a little person. In my head, or a dwarf I think specifically, in my head, I was going, why didn't they just get Peter Dinklage to play the little person? And then in my head I go, well, because this is 2003, maybe he wasn't like an actor yet, because I thought he got into acting late, I believe is his story. I could be wrong. I think I've heard him talk about it. So I was like, oh, maybe he wasn't really acting yet, or had just come on the scene, so he probably wouldn't be in movies. And then the movie starts up, and 3 minutes in, Peter Dinklage walks on screen, and I'm like, wait, why did you not just cast him as the main character? Why would you
because
cast
Game of
Gary
Thrones
Oldman?
hasn't been made yet.
I know, but the thing is, he's the best part of this movie. He's the best actor in this. I mean, not overall. Gary Oldman's an amazing actor, but he's not good in this, I don't think, in my opinion. His choices were very strange in this movie. But I was like, Peter Dinklage is amazing in this, and he's fascinating. And I'm like, why didn't you just make him the main character?
And to cap off our main cast, Patricia Arquette.
Yes, and Patricia Arquette. Sorry, I jumped on that one.
Who is channeling her inner Bo Derek with those braided hair.
Very braided hair. But the other thing is, I have so many questions. Who's the main character of this movie? Kyle? Who is the main character?
I don't know.
There isn't one. It's okay. First, you think, okay, it's gonna be, who do we even meet first? Do we meet Matthew McConaughey first, or do we meet? We meet Matthew McConaughey first.
I thought it opened up with Gary Oldman on the road.
No. We start with him, with Matthew McConaughey going in while Kate Beckinsale's painting.
Right.
So we're introduced to him first. So and I'm like, oh, Matthew McConaughey, big name actor. He's going to be the main character. Fucking not the main character at all.
Yeah.
I would argue.
There's a point halfway through the film where he just disappears.
Yeah. And he starts vaguely as the protagonist, very quickly turns into the antagonist of the film, kind of.
It's gonna be a big commitment.
Yeah, but we're up for that, aren't we, Steven?
Damn it! How could you two be so calm, huh?
Okay, then after we're introduced to him, we also meet Kate Beckinsale. Maybe she's the protagonist of the film. You could probably make the argument for her the most, maybe. Then but kind of. And then we're introduced to Gary Oldman's character, and I'm like, okay, well, Gary Oldman. This is obviously like you got a big name actor to play a dwarf who's not a dwarf. It's got to be about him, right? Like he's got to be the main character. He's not. We know nothing about him. We learn nothing about him. He has no character arc. Nobody in this movie has a fucking character arc. They all start as whatever they are and they end at that.
Well, the only person who probably has kind of a character arc would be Kate Beckinsale.
A little. Like and hers isn't even a character arc. She just decides to stop calling little people midgets. That is her character arc in this movie.
What did you think I was gonna do when I found out your family were all midgets? Huh? I mean, did you think I'd just walk away?
Look, you keep saying midgets, you're gonna piss a whole bunch of people off, okay?
You know, I really don't care about that stuff, okay? There's sure a lot of midgets around here. Actually, it's little people.
Like, it's ridiculous. Nobody has character arc. There's no protagonist. There's no antagonist. Any character we're supposed to care about, I have no reason to care. Like Gary Oldman's character,
Yes.
what is his name in this?
Rolf.
Rolf. Yeah.
Ralphie, my friend, you are in the doghouse. Mom and Pop are pissed.
We're introduced to him. I don't know why he's what his deal is. Like, so we're introduced to him. Okay, so first scene, Matthew McConaughey almost gets Kate Beckinsale wants to suck Matthew McConaughey's dick, and then he's like, no, and then that scene ends. That's all that matters.
I've got to get going now.
Oh, right this second?
Yes, right this second.
Okay, you know what? Fine.
Basically, he's like, I got to go to a family thing tonight, and she's like, oh, what? Can I come? And he's like, nah. And she's like, all right, let me suck your dick. And he's like,
that should be highly suspicious.
Yeah. They're
on
living
both accounts.
They're living. They're living together at this point, and he's like, and she still has never met any of his family, none of them, which is very strange.
Yeah, I got something going on this side. It's called family, and I cannot get out of it. Okay, how many times do you want to hear that?
Oh, what? Family fucked up or something? Is that why you're being so secretive?
Yeah. You need to trust me. Okay?
So then we're introduced to Peter Dinklage and Gary Oldman, and again, my mind just I was like, wait, Peter, he's in this movie, but he's not the.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Sure.
We have to talk. We have to address the pink elephant in the room here. Every single scene that deals with Gary Oldman is Gary Oldman on his knees.
Yes,
he's clearly on his knees.
Take a shower.
Very clearly, 100% waddling around on his knees.
Every single shot is waist up.
Yes. Everything about
his fake legs are just noodles.
Everything.
Want some coffee? Rolf?
Everything about this movie is just all I could think. The tagline of this movie should have been, "Who thought this was a good idea?" Like, who thought this was a good idea? Getting Gary Oldman to play a dwarf it's such a strange choice. And especially when they cast every other little person in Hollywood is in this movie. They have little people, porn stars in this movie. And they're like, but we need Gary Oldman to play a little person.
And of course, my favorite part is probably the trailer to this movie. It's absolutely amazing.
I have not watched it, unfortunately, but I will drop some choice nuggets.
My favorite part is Gary Oldman in the role of a lifetime.
And in the role of a lifetime, Gary Oldman.
And you look at Gary Oldman, he's got these Coke bottle glasses on and everything.
Never has such a small role felt so big. or never has such a big role felt so small. One of the two. I don't know. Yes.
Canal Plus and Langley Productions proudly present command performances from Kate Beckinsale. Matthew McConaughey proudly present command performances from Kate Beckinsale.
One of my favorite things is Gary Oldman's motorcycles. So they have trikes. Him and Peter Dinklage drive around on trikes everywhere, three-wheeled like motorcycle things. Gary Oldman's has like a shield, or like it looks like a chariot around the front, so that he can hide his legs, so you can't.
God damn it!
Like Peter Dinklage's is normal, Gary Oldman's is a chariot, and I'm just like, awesome, so great. Okay.
You got to be thinking that Peter Dinklage the whole time on set was like,
fuck this.
Like, are you serious? Are you serious?
He had just been like, fuck this.
You write a part for a dwarf, and you give it to
Gary Oldman, and then
Jim Gordon over there.
And then you hire me to be in the movie as his friend? Like, fuck you.
You hired me to be this bourgeois-headed French dwarf.
God, we'll get into Peter Dinklage's character. He is my favorite part about this movie.
Oh, then you put your headphones on and face the wall, my friend, because tonight I'm feeling good.
Then we cut to, after we're introduced to Patricia Arquette, they pick him up, blah, blah, blah. We cut to the Little Person's Defense League dinner, which is
This is one of many scenes, and the only one that makes sense, where they have an unbelievable amount of dwarves.
They just got everybody together.
This one makes sense. Like they say, it's a convention.
Yeah.
There's scenes later where they go to a party.
But that party is also a little person, like convention party or something.
Everyone is there.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, how are there? You can't have this. No, this is just maybe my idiotic thing.
Statistics, wrong, but
you can't have this highly dense populated area of little people.
Well, it is Hollywood. They are specifically in Hollywood, so a lot of them are actors, I think.
True.
No, Jerry. I think you might be a little too old for me.
Too old? Well, you done hurt my feelings.
The thing that is so strange to me is because there are so many little people cast in this film, I was like, you're telling me none of them could have played Gary Oldman's role?
Yes.
None of them? There's like 800 little people in this movie. One of them could... Gary Oldman doesn't even do anything. All Gary Oldman does is like go, meh, okay.
You know what, Sally? You need to cut loose from all this crazy shit that seems to follow you around.
Wouldn't be like that if we were together again. Come on, Rolf. I'm ready for an adult relationship.
Yeah, well, it sure looks like it.
Like his character, his acting in this movie is so one note. He's just kind of like crotchety. I don't even know. Again, okay, so Gary Oldman's character, we're introduced to him. He ends up showing up like way late to this little person party thing for some reason. I guess the implication is supposed to be he's sort of like
a free spirit.
Not even a free spirit. I think like ashamed of himself and I think that's kind of the vibe we're supposed to get, that he doesn't like identifying with all the other little people because it's not something he likes about himself. Like I think it's something because Matthew McConaughey, he's a super handsome average type person, twin brother specifically.
Gary Oldman's also kind of a hermit. He does live out in the woods in a cabin.
Yeah, he does. But so anyways, he shows up late with Peter Dinklage to the little person dinner thing, and Matthew McConaughey's been like hanging out partying with everybody, dancing and everything. So also, okay, let's do it here because we got to talk about him. Peter Dinklage in this movie is French.
I could not tell.
Go away. They're eating each other.
His name is Maurice, and he is French.
And he's a space cowboy.
And he's a socialist. And it's amazing.
Marxist,
sorry. He says Marxist specific, that's right.
Who the fuck are you anyway?
I know who I am. And I know what I am. I am a Marxist. Who are you?
And it's amazing. He just yells at everybody in this movie in a French accent and drinks. And I just wanted to watch a movie about him.
What I think about your organization. You go. We are the little people. Please, We are so cute and cuddly.
Like, I was like, why is...
One of my favorite scenes is when they're discussing like what his idea of overtaking everything will be.
Incredible.
And it'll be Gary Oldman's like, well, Maurice over here will probably just have everybody's head on a pike, you know, and you know, have people rush over the government.
Yeah, Maurice had his way. He would take all the heads of the members of Congress and put them on a spear and display them out on the White House lawn.
Yeah.
And the only thing I can think of is, oh wow, I guess there was a little look ahead on Game of Thrones. and put head on a pike.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah. Although Tyrion's not about that. He's like the one who's like the least about that of the Lannisters. But yeah. But I love too. So there's a scene where they're at the party later, and he's yelling at somebody about a violent revolution. And for a minute, I didn't realize, because this is when we're first introduced to the fact that he is like a Marxist or whatever. And I thought he was talking about a violent uprising of little people.
What sort of political activity do you suggest we create once we disband because we're so bourgeois?
What you people don't understand is that political power, it grows out of the barrel of a gun.
Yeah, right. Now you want us to go out and commit violence in the street.
like overthrowing the tall class. It's like, I didn't know, because we were not at any point introduced to the fact that, like, this is how they introduced to us that he is like he's like a violent socialist, whatever.
I hope you know that the only two things you put into my mind with that sentence were Gulliver's Travels and the uprising army of the Lollipop Guild.
Yeah. But I thought that's what he was talking about, and I'm like, I'm on board. Let's watch that movie where French Peter Dinklage leads a revolution against the tall people. That'll be fucking amazing.
Fuck you on your bourgeois legs. And Brian is broken. You have an overabundance of height.
Oh, that's good. Oh, God.
Oh, now you want to talk about the fucking war.
Why are we talking to this guy?
He is very passionate.
Don't you patronize me.
I just have a note that says, "God damn that Matthew McConaughey bulge." I think this is the scene where he's coming to bed.
Yeah, and he's in his tidy whities.
And it's just his. I'm gonna have to censor it, or we'll get demonetized, because you can just see all of his penis. I was like, holy shit!
Oh
god! Look it up. Go watch it for yourselves, because I'm not gonna be able to show it. Okay.
Oh god, I said stop you this because this blew my mind on the internet.
Yeah.
All right, I saw an advertisement for this product called Ice Silk Boxers. Have you ever heard of those?
No.
I didn't know what they were.
Comfy.
I Googled it. They are essentially super stretchy, very thin fabric boxers. And yes, it's exactly what.
Oh.
No. All it is it's literally, if you Google this, I didn't know this. I just want to see what the product was. It's nothing but glorified male penis in your face on the internet.
Nice.
Made of silk, these are extremely comfortable and breathable. The pair is body forming and has a contoured pouch, giving your pair support without feeling too tight.
After the dinner thing, he goes home and he gets in bed with Kate Beckinsale, and they're kind of chatting.
You were about ready to say Kate Bosworth, weren't you?
Yeah, I think I was from the last episode. But then, Kate Beckinsale, and they start chatting about stuff, and she's like, how was it, blah, blah, blah.
So, did you have a good time? Was it everything you expected?
That's okay.
I also, at this moment, was where I looked up who wrote this movie, because I was like, this is bad. The dialogue is bad. Whoever wrote this should feel bad.
I can't. You're playing me. I know it. I just can't figure out why.
And I looked it up, and the guy's name was Bill Weiner, or Weiner. He has exactly 1 credit on IMDb, and it is a writing credit for this movie. He made 1 thing.
I would argue that he's probably a dwarf.
I would think maybe because of where this movie goes, like maybe because it kind of feels like a self-insert, like I don't want to say fanfic, but no, because fanfics is the wrong word, but like it feels like a very much like an author self-insert type of story.
I like that idea because of the ending of this, where he's like in this insane power trip, and at the end of the film, he's like, "And fuck Matthew McConaughey."
Yeah, like that's what it feels like. I would not remotely be surprised because it's a very strange script. Well, it's not good. It's a very terrible script, but it's where it goes was so just I was not expecting it.
I think maybe I'm pregnant.
11 minutes in, she's pregnant. Surprise.
Yes.
So when he gets home and he's talking to her in bed, she goes, "I think I might be pregnant." And he's like, "What the fuck?" And she's like, "What? We've been talking about getting pregnant. It's not that big a deal." And he's like, but later we wanted to get pregnant."
Did she know? She didn't know about the dwarf thing yet.
No, she had no idea at this point.
Because there's a point where they start discussing something, and I was like, Matthew McConaughey, hang on a second.
I love this because his face, Matthew McConaughey's reaction to her saying, "I think I might be pregnant," is like,
Oh, man.
that's a great reaction.
Yes.
But then he goes, "I thought we used protection."
Oh, we've been using protection.
And she's like, "Well, we did, except for all those times where we didn't."
Yeah, except for those 2 or 3 times a week when you wake me up in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Remember when we had like sleep sex?
Yeah, she's like, "You know all those times you wake me up in the middle of the night?" And I'm like, "Good job, Matthew McConaughey."
Don't tell me you don't remember either. I thought you wanted kids, Steve.
Yeah, but not right this second.
So then we cut to, after she tells him she's pregnant, we cut to the hotel where they're checking in.
Yes.
It's Patricia Arquette, Peter Dinklage, and Gary Oldman checking into a hotel. It's like a seedy, like dive hotel type of place.
Patricia Arquette is dressed very
scantily.
She was.
They picked her up. She was hitchhiking. Like she got kicked off a bus or something, or like because she didn't have a ticket. I don't even know. She got kicked off a bus. They picked her up on the side of the highway.
But they were getting a room, and the guy looks at Peter Dinklage and looks at Patricia Arquette and goes,
"See that sign? We don't allow prostitution in here."
Shut the fuck up, dude. You run a no-tell motel. 90% of your clientele is people sleeping with prostitutes. Yes. Like, what are you talking about? Like that. Look at this motel.
Oh man, she ain't a prostitute. We just want a room.
I only have 1 room. You have to share.
You only got 1? How much, man?
So when we get into this hotel room is when we really notice Gary Oldman walking on his knees. Yes. So very obviously. Yes. And this is where he's not using a cane. And he's walking around. I'm like, oh my God. It's a guy on his knees. Yes. It's middle-aged Gary Oldman flonking around on his knees.
With an amazing mustache that I'm pretty sure is super fake.
Yeah, yeah. And then they put those big Coke bottle glasses on him to make his eyes look kind of like,
like bubbles from the trailer park.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, it kind of does look like bubbles. But yeah, because this is where they talk about it. Like people with dwarfism and stuff have lots of health issues.
And here's the thing: it's because Peter Dinklage is like having an ulcer or something like that.
What is it, your back? Is your back wet? Here, stand up. Stand up.
Where I'm just like, I'm pretty sure it's because he's an alcoholic.
Yeah, yeah. It could be, because he pretty much drinks constantly.
Oh, say, that's smooth. What is this?
It's an original creation of mine. Imported cherry-flavored morphine syrup from France.
I don't remember what happens, but Peter Dinklage falls out of the bed at one point.
Yes.
Oh, they start fucking to Rasta music because it's the early 2000s.
The night is young.
and the moonlight shimmers off your floating hair, baby.
It's pretty awesome. So then Gary Oldman's like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. And he goes to sleep at his on again, off again girlfriend's house.
Yes.
Sally, I believe is her name. And we get the one shot in the whole movie that is CG of Gary Oldman, like a full shot of Gary Oldman walking, and where you can clearly tell they CG'd out behind him on the floor so that you can't see his legs in the back half of his legs.
Keep in mind, the best way for them to do this was to put a green like dress thing basically around him.
Yeah,
and so he's like it looks like a slug version of Gary Oldman going across the carpet.
It's so bad. It's so bad, and it's the reason they only did it once.
Yes.
Every other time,
well, they probably did it, and they were like, "Oh,
that looks bad.
No,
it looks bad." Every other time, and it probably took way too much effort. Every other time, whoever the camera operator was for this movie, their whole job was to make sure the frame stayed just barely above Gary Oldman's waist.
Yeah, we could, but what you need now is a real support network. I'm gonna find Sally. I'm gonna take Sally.
Just imagine that. Top of the frame, make sure the boom doesn't get in.
Yeah.
Bottom of the frame, I don't want to see his legs.
Yeah. There's so many shots. There's one specifically at the party where Gary Oldman's walking out of the frame and walking out of the scene towards the back of the frame, like backwards out of the frame. And the camera person is like spastically pushing in to try to keep the frame so we can't see Gary Oldman's legs. Oh, like, oh god, how much fun was this movie?
This isn't like Justice League where you can just CGI out a mustache.
Yeah. So then he meets Sally, knocks on the door opens, and this is where I had a crisis of how much I would like to reveal on the show. Just the fact that I'm aware that that's a porn star.
I will go ahead and say I did not know. Brian, would you like to explain yourself?
No, she was on like a TV show or something. She's been in other stuff. She hasn't just been in porn, but she has been in porn. Anyway, so he meets up with her, and again, I think she's like his on again, off again girlfriend or something like that. So a guy shows up while Gary Oldman's there, and is like demanding money.
Do not give to me this shit, all right? I just need money for the bus now.
Do not give to me this shit.
Basically. And then he runs in there, and then him and Gary Oldman kind of get into it or start yelling at each other, and Gary Oldman tries to give him money. And then the guy punches him, and I was not prepared for that because I shouldn't have laughed at it, but I did.
You fucking whore!
Mainly because I guess it was, I don't know if I've ever seen Gary Oldman be punched in a movie. maybe the only thing I can think of is like in Fifth Element, he probably gets punched once by Bruce Willis or something like that, but I couldn't think of one.
Get off my plane.
And then Gary Oldman, there's a scene where he's sprinting on his knees. He's like sprinting across the room on his knees, and it's... It's just every 5 minutes, I'm like, when at some point during the production of this movie, people had to look around and go, guys,
we can't do
what
this.
Are we doing? What are we doing?
I had this thought just go across my mind. Gary Oldman gets brought on very early in this project, right?
Yeah.
And so he's at this little person convention stuff, and they have all of a sudden they're like, well, I don't know, we can get somebody, I don't know, cheap or whatever, and instead of having to bring all these people in or whatever, and then Gary Oldman's like, no, we need everyone. Everyone, sir?
Everyone!
I can only imagine that he had to take over something like that, where he went like full, like...
They're like, we really don't need Matthew McConaughey because like he's barely in the movie and like he leaves for most of it. We don't need all these big name actors.
Everyone!
Okay, so then he gets
that was
beat
just
up.
an excuse for you to put that
Yeah,
in.
I'm going to put it in with the mouth on all the eyes. You've seen that one, right? There's one where somebody replaced his mouth over both of his eyes, so it's his mouth and his eyes screaming everyone, and it's terrifying and amazing. So then we cut to he gets beat up by the guy, and then that scene ends. Then we cut to Kate Beckinsale at home taking a pregnancy test.
Yes,
and this.
Oh my god, this happens only in movies. This only happens in movies where somebody has to speak out loud the instructions to a fucking pregnancy test.
So we know as a viewer that the 2 lines mean she's pregnant.
Wait 2 minutes, then look to see if 2 visible lines are formed in the tube. 2 visible lines indicate a positive test for being knocked up.
But the other thing, I don't know if people know how pregnancy tests work. You pee on them.
Mm-hmm.
Where does she have it sitting?
In the kitchen.
On her coffee. She has it resting on top of the coffee she is drinking. I was like, you just peed on that, you fucking weirdo. And then we cut to Matthew McConaughey, this is where we learn he's a firefighter. He's a teacher, or a firefighter, like instructor.
So he actually gets paid.
Yeah. And he's like screaming at this firefighter. It's like boot camp mode, and I'm like, is that how they teach firefighters?
Come on, fat boy, didn't I tell you to lose some of that blubber 4 months ago? Yes, I did, and you have not.
He's like screaming at him and kicking him, and I'm like, what the fuck? It's not, because one of the other firefighters, the Amazonian firefighter woman,
that woman is unbelievably tall.
You're going up to the 18th floor, Chuck. You got a woman and child. What?
It's huge. She comes over and she's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I was like, oh, okay, so that isn't normal. Scream at them like they're in boot camp.
What do you think you're doing?
What?
You total asshole.
Then we cut back to Kate Beckinsale, and this is when she meets Gary Oldman, Rolf.
This scene's amazing.
Yeah.
So this is a scene where she asked, how do you know Matthew McConaughey?
He just shows up at their apartment.
Yeah. And he's my brother.
Yeah.
Who are you?
I'm Ralph. I'm his brother.
What?
What? Yeah. And I love this. She just believes him and lets him in.
Yes.
Listen, Carol, you think I could come in? I'm a little messed up right now.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that.
Thank you.
And then we come back to the hotel, and this scene's great with Maurice and Patricia Arquette.
Whoa, hang on. I gotta stop you there.
No,
we have to talk about Gary Oldman on the couch.
Okay. I mean, it happens a couple times, but yes,
it happens a couple times. But Gary Oldman like gets on the couch and basically falls asleep. In this scene, Gary Oldman is clearly inside the couch, and we have 2 pool noodles with tennis shoes attached to them hanging out of the couch like this.
I kept expecting her to like reach down and touch his leg, and it fell off. It's like fell on the floor. Like, I gotta imagine there's like a deleted scene where she accidentally knocks his legs off.
I don't think I've seen a less convincing prop.
I know. He's so clearly just in between. Like when you were a little kid and you could fit in the couch cushions and you would like get down under the couch. He is buried into the couch, sticking out.
I have we have a lot of our fans who are very good artists.
Yes.
I would like some artist renderings of what Gary Oldman looks like inside this couch.
We want like a 3D, like a cutaway look, or like a clear see-through couch where you can see Gary Oldman and then his little fake legs sticking.
Please use your imagination.
Oh, it's so great. We'll put the still frame in. You can capture it and then do what you will. So then we cut to the hotel. Maurice the next morning.
Yes.
Maurice and Patricia Arquette, the hotel manager or the maid comes to try to get in, and then they're like, "Go the fuck away, we're fucking in here." And then she comes back with the manager.
So it's like, not this guy is a dick, but he's also running a business.
Yeah, he's a dick, and that's the thing too. Is like, because then Maurice pulls out a gun,
and then you're just like, "Whoa, what?"
Are we? And then again, I couldn't tell who we're supposed to like in this movie because in general I liked Maurice, but then like he pulls out a gun and is like, I mean, is he gonna kill a manager for doing his job? Like, what is going on? And then Patricia Arquette goes outside and beats the manager with her fucking shoe. So yeah, they're on the run, and that's where that scene ends. So we cut back to Kate Beckinsale comes to confront, or not confront, but to talk to.
And here's the thing: what did you think of her wardrobe?
My exact note was like, I get you're an artist, but you look like you work at Hot Topic.
Every day. Now, rule number 1 with the regulators, never use oil in it. You use oil in this regulator and you're gonna end up in a situation. We're gonna take 5.
Not only that, she looked like she just woke up and she's like, "Oh, these are my sleepwear."
Yeah,
my sleepwear.
She's wearing.
I'm just gonna fucking wear that out.
Yeah, she's wearing. That's what I mean. She's wearing pajamas.
Yeah,
and like a weird like top, and then a giant
ridiculous hat.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like I said, I get that she's like artsy, but I'm like, you're also like 35 years old. Dress like an adult when you go out in public.
There's Brian telling you how to live your life.
I mean, do you? I don't care. I don't give a shit. Dress however you want. But if you dress like her in this movie and you're 35 years old when you're out in public, people are gonna be like, all right. Then again, Kate Beckinsale can wear whatever she wants all the time. So they're talking about the pregnancy thing again. And then he says something about they can adopt kids. And she's like,
yeah, here's this is where it went crazy. And I was like, Matthew McConaughey, are you suggesting eugenics?
We could always adopt.
What, and never have children of our own?
I just don't know if that's going to be possible.
May or may not, to some extent, be a suggestion. And I love my other thing. He's like, we could adopt kids. And she's like, but then they'd be adopted. Gross. Yes. And I'm like, whoa, blowing the fuck out of adopted kids.
Keep everybody in check here. Matthew McConaughey is suggesting that we essentially, like most Spartan children, take them and throw them over the cliff.
Throw them off a cliff, yes. Which I was very worried was going to legitimately happen in this movie.
There's a scene where he has that look in his eyes, and you're like, oh my God.
Look what I need. I need chromosomes.
Oh, we were going to watch Matthew McConaughey murder a dwarf baby in this movie. That's a thing I thought with 100% sincerity was going to happen in this movie. But my other note was, but for real, adopts people. There's way too many people on this planet already. You should just fucking adopt kids. So they have this big, long discussion about adopting and pregnancy in front of the class. They're like 20 feet away in front of the firefighter class. Mm-hmm. And then she leaves and Matthew McConaughey comes back and is like, so, back to fighting fires.
Okay.
Yes.
Super awkward. And then we cut back to the apartment and she's arguing, and Gary Oldman's on the phone yelling at Sally when Kate Beckinsale comes home from the park and he says, yeah, well, I'm just a real asshole, aren't I? I'm a fart. He says, I'm a fart something. I don't know what the fuck. It's so weird.
Okay, I'm a bastard. All right, yeah. I'm a motherfucker. I'm a dick too. Yeah, I'm a fuckwad. I'm a fucking fart.
And this is the thing. They never establish anything with Gary Oldman's character.
Why do you think Gary Oldman has that accent?
I don't know.
I'll tell you why. Because Matthew McConaughey couldn't get rid of his.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, it's the southern, sort of a southern accent, yes. Because Matthew McConaughey just can only do Matthew McConaughey.
All right.
He can only do that. So Gary Oldman was like, fine, I'll be the real actor here and fucking add a weird accent, even though it's not very good.
Congratulations. By the way.
But this is the thing. So at this point, we're like 30 or 40 minutes into the movie. We have yet to have any characters that we really care about. Gary Oldman's character, they haven't set up anything about why we should like him or care about him. Mm-hmm.
The only thing that we had was the second night that Matthew McConaughey and Kate Beckinsale together. We get all this information on Rolf.
Oh yeah, that's this night.
Never comes to fruition.
Oh my God.
There's other problems with being little besides the social stuff, you know?
What medical stuff?
Yeah. I mean, when Rolf was a kid, he was in a lot of pain. He used to cry all the time.
And that is so annoying. I had that in my thing. It's like, this is really good script writing when you have 15 minutes of two people sitting in bed explaining history of their family. It's really riveting
Which really tells me that the writer was just his own, like, putting himself into this.
Well, right, but here's the thing that would have made more sense. Just show us all that. Do a flashback. Make that the beginning of your movie.
Right. Brian.
Gary Oldman growing up and having a hard time.
It's a movie, okay? We tell, we don't show.
That is the classic quintessential film technique. Tell, don't show.
Why? Being a little person hurts?
Yeah. You see, they got organs and musculature that's too big for their skeleton.
Yeah, right, but they have drugs for that, don't they?
I also have this note. Kate Beckinsale's pants could not ride any lower throughout this movie.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi. What convention?
It's a thing for little people. It's kind of an annual thing where they all get.
She has the lowest ride pants in every scene. Her pajama pant, like literally, we're like centimeters from seeing her vulva at all times. Like it is, I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it is, they are uncomfortably low at all times. Like it's just her mons is just always visible.
Yes.
Oh, hold on. We have to talk about the scene where right before the party, there's a phone call that takes place. And I have to talk about this scene because I don't understand what this was.
Hi, Steven.
There's a phone call between Matthew McConaughey and Kate Beckinsale. And Matthew, and I don't remember the exact context, but they're talking about inviting to the party or going to the party later. Yeah. But the way they shoot Kate Beckinsale in this scene,
it's just a close up of her eyes and her
extreme
mouth.
Close-ups of her eyes and mouth with super shallow depth of field.
Yes.
Have you been thinking about things?
A little bit, you know. I mean, it's been pretty busy up here. Say, how'd it go with Rolf?
He's asleep on the couch.
Like it's a sex scene.
What?
And she's talking super sensually. She's like, yeah.
We went for brunch this afternoon at your uncle's house. God, they were so nice.
God, they were so nice.
And I thought the camera was gonna pull back and little Gary Oldman was gonna be eating her out or something. I was like, what is going on here?
Oh my goodness.
It is so strange.
I was kind of hoping we could all go together.
Tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Like, why would you shoot that scene that way? Like, because Gary Oldman's just shot normal, like he's on the phone, but it's literally just her eyeball, her mouth. And I'm like, why? Their conversation is just a normal conversation. Okay.
God, they were so nice. God, they were so nice. God, they were so nice.
So then they go to the party that night.
And he invites the Amazon chick.
The Amazonian firefighter, yes.
That was smart.
You want to go to a party tomorrow night?
Who's at this party, though?
Everyone!
David Alan Grier.
Yeah, David Alan Grier.
With James Brown's hair.
Yeah.
I think you might be a little too old for me.
Too old? Well, you done hurt my feelings.
He was the host at the beginning at the little person convention.
Uh-huh.
He was like
he was a comedian.
the MC or whatever, yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yeah. And then so they're at this party and all kinds of nonsense happens at this party. This is where Peter Dinklage goes off on his Marxist rampage screaming at people, which is amazing.
Makes me want to vomit. You hear me? You don't approve of my methods. I don't approve of your methods.
Kate Beckinsale's there, and she's got like the world's biggest space buns. She looks like Minnie Mouse. She's got like these giant fucking space buns. Oh, okay. And then the way this ends is that Sally, Gary Oldman is talking to Sally, and it seems like he's potentially trying to like get back with her or something. It's very I don't care.
I'm gonna find Sally. I'm gonna take Sally.
Nobody cares or shouldn't care. But the way this ends is that Gary Oldman walks in.
He walks in and she is getting plowed by David Alan Grier, but the room is nothing but windows.
In front of everybody.
In front of everyone.
Whoa. What's up, man?
That's it. I'm done with you, Sally.
It's too late. I've seen everything.
I've seen everything. Yeah, I've seen it all.
But like, it's nothing but glass panels make up this entire room.
Yeah, and they're just going at it on the fucking table. And I love that Gary Oldman somehow didn't see this until he opened the door and walked in. I was like, it's all glass windows.
Whoa. What's up, man?
We gotta speed some shit up.
Yeah. So we got to talk about this scene, which is where she goes to meet the parents.
Mm.
Meet the parents.
The
With
parents
Matthew
meet
McConaughey.
the parents, right?
Parents meet the parents. And I love this. Okay, so what was Kate Beckinsale really upset with Matthew McConaughey about? This movie.
He didn't tell her about his family?
Yes, exactly. Okay, so cut to this scene. Kate Beckinsale's parents, because they're engaged at this point. Or have been engaged. They're getting married. Kate Beckinsale's parents show up at Matthew McConaughey's family's house.
Yes.
They walk in, and his mom and Matthew McConaughey's parents walk out, and they're both little people.
Yes.
So, this is Steven's father, Bruno, and his mom, Kathleen. And over behind the bar is Steven's brother, Rolf.
There's a scene, and they introduce Rolf. There's a scene where it shows him behind a counter, a bar. There was a part where I thought, wow, that's an average sized bar in this place. And then Kate Beckinsale walks over there and kneels. And I'm just like, what the? Whoa. Hang on a second.
They have a little person
Yeah,
bar.
but it looks like normal. Like, it looks like everything is normal. And then Kate Beckinsale walks in, and my mind went.
So Kate Beckinsale's parents walk in, and then Matthew McConaughey's parents walk out, and her mom's like, what?
Yes.
And I love this. So my note is like, wait, did you not tell your parents that your fiance's parents were little people? Because here's the thing, you were real upset that Matthew McConaughey never told you.
Yes.
And that you just found that shit out. And then you don't tell your parents and just let them walk into that situation. And the thing that was really fucking nuts to me, so she didn't tell them, and her parents are like,
You could have prepared us for this, don't you think? I didn't think it was important.
now, I applaud the idea, oh, it's not important, doesn't matter, they're people. Sure, but you could probably be like, hey, by the way, just so you don't have this reaction where you're like, "Whoa," when you walk in the door, they're little people, just so you know. When you
I
get
would
there.
have that same issue if like I came in and they started speaking like in a super thick German accent or something like that.
Like, just a thing, so you don't have a obnoxious reaction. Like, just, hey, heads up, they're little people.
And
Cool, right on, let's move on.
Then they start having the whole sit down meal thing, and then we find out what the real issue is.
Yeah, this is so fucking weird. They start like this big issue, and this plays like a fucking comedy. This is like a scene from a comedy, which this movie, for like the first hour and 20 minutes, flirts with what it wants to be of like a comedy versus drama. I guess that it's trying to do a little bit of both, but holy shit, this scene it's ridiculous.
But they're saying like her was her father, or was her like whatever.
She said we need to talk about this because this is really important.
I think that there's something that we need to bring up that you won't want to hear.
Mom?
Yeah.
She goes, I don't want to sound bigoted or something like that.
I certainly wouldn't want anyone to think that we're prejudiced people.
Daddy!
And I'm like, oh no! That's the number one thing bigots say before they... I don't want to sound bigoted, but fuck little people. And so like Kate Beckinsale's freaking out, like, oh god, they're gonna say something about like they don't want her to marry into a family of little people or whatever.
All right, Kirk, you tell them. You're a lot more diplomatic than I am.
Well,
turns out, she goes, my father is very Jewish.
Acidically Jewish.
Yeah. And I don't think we could do a wedding without it being a Reformed Jewish wedding or something like that. Whatever. Some sort of Jewish wedding. And everybody's like, whoosh. Ugh.
he's an Orthodox Jew, and he's never forgiven us for going reform. So unless you can bring yourself to have a Jewish wedding, would you at least consider a civil ceremony? Otherwise, we won't be able to invite him.
Thank God, Matthew McConaughey is like, yeah, sure, I'll be fucking Jewish. I don't care. Like,
I'll stomp on a glass.
Yeah, he's like, I don't give a shit.
I got no problem with a Jewish wedding.
They do also in this movie a lot of spinny camera work. Did you notice this? They do a thing where it's not quite Michael Bay full 360 camera around people while they're talking. They do the thing where they're in a park having two people having a conversation, and the camera is constantly, while they're just two people standing there, like spinning back and forth on them, and it serves no purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Like, here's the thing: when you move your camera, you should move it for a reason. not just because. Like, and so they're just like constantly moving his camera, and there's no reason for it. And it makes no sense, and it was driving me crazy because it reminded me of a Michael Bay film. And at least in a Michael Bay film, as bad and dumb as they are, the camera movement adds a sense of movement and more momentum to the film because it's an action movie. In this, it's like, why are we spinning the camera around? There's no reason.
So what are you gonna do now?
I'm gonna go to my parents' place. Cabin, be there.
Shit just got real.
And then she kisses Gary Oldman on the mouth.
That was awkward.
At the wedding. I was very strange. I was like, okay. And she also, when she kisses him after the wedding, so her and Matthew McConaughey get married, and then they go on their honeymoon. But as she kisses him after she gets married, she goes, I just want you to know you're wonderful.
I think you're wonderful, Ralph.
And at this point, I'm like, what has their interaction been that we've seen for her to like him at all?
Nothing.
He showed up at their apartment. They talked for a few minutes. She leaves, she comes back. He's on the phone yelling at some woman.
Yes.
He got in a fight with some guy. And then
introduced her to Matthew McConaughey's parents.
Yeah, that was a nice thing, I guess. And then every other scene they're in together, he just never says anything. He just sits there. Like, and
the writer was like, yeah, and then she starts hitting on
and then she kisses him and says he's wonderful.
I think you're wonderful, Ralph.
All right, so then this is where they have the baby.
We're gonna run some tests over the next few days. Vincent's gonna have to stay here at the clinic. Then we'll start him on a long-term regimen that will keep him on through puberty.
Just hang in there, honey, okay? We can handle this.
We directly cut from wedding to having the baby. Baby's born. Matthew McConaughey punches a hole in the wall because it's a dwarf.
Yeah, but we're up for that, aren't we, Steven?
Damn it! How could you two be so calm, huh?
Which, holy shit, he is so angry.
Oh my God.
It is very uncomfortable. And she, at this point, numerous times has been like, you should probably get some counseling.
It's not healthy, and I think you should consider getting some help.
Because you very clearly have issues with your family and the fact that your family are little people. Because he gets irrationally angry all the time about it. And like, he literally punches a hole in the wall at the hospital.
Damn it! How could you two be so calm, huh?
So he's real mad.
We forgot seeing this. Yes,
no, we're not forgetting it. This is the scene.
This is where he punches the hole in the wall and then comes back
and then leaves,
later.
And then comes back, yeah. Well, the doctor's gone. And he walks in and...
It almost doesn't say a word.
No, and the music is very ominous.
Yes.
It's like weird ominous music. He doesn't say a word, and he has the fucking serial killer Matthew McConaughey look on his face. And he walks in and he walks up to the baby and he's like, and I'm like, don't give him the baby. Don't give him he's gonna murder your baby. He's gonna fucking murder your baby. And he like grabs the baby, and I'm like, oh God, he's gonna murder that baby.
And then they do that pushing on Matthew McConaughey, and if you were to cut the black, that baby's dead.
And the thing, you can see on her face, there is a 20%, she is calculating in her head as she hands him the baby, what are the odds he throws this baby against the wall right now?
Are you sure?
Like, you can see on her face, that's what she's thinking. It's terrifying. And then, so then they get the baby home and they're screaming at each other, and because the baby is crying and keeps crying and it won't sleep, and then so Matthew McConaughey at this point is like, you know what? I'm not good for this. You're better than this. I'm gonna leave. Basically, he's like, we should split up.
I can't take it. And it's obvious that I'm just making things worse.
Because I'm not helping at all. Like, I'm making things worse. And we're 20 minutes from the end of the movie. And I'm like, how are we wrapping this shit up? Here's the thing. So they split.
Mm-hmm.
She goes with the baby to live in the cabin with Gary Oldman and Peter Dinklage.
Why?
I thought she made most of the money. She's like a very successful. I thought that was her apartment. I guess it wasn't. I guess it was his, and he kicked out his wife and the daughter or the mother of his child. He's like, yeah, go live with my brother. Like, what the fuck? Well, I don't understand how that played out. That when they split up, she left and went to live in the woods, and why he was cool with that. Like,
it's so bizarre.
It's so fucking weird. And then, so this is like where we get into the like raising. It's like Gary Oldman, Peter Dinklage, Patricia Arquette, and Kate Beckinsale and the baby living in a cabin in the woods for a while.
Oh, God.
And this, I did write this. Gary Oldman is going to raise that baby, and she's going to end up fucking Gary Oldman. And now, this movie changed my mind so many times on where it was going, because that was what I said here, but we'll get to where I thought this movie was going later.
Patricia Arquette and Peter Dinklage, their relationships, it seems to escalate back and forth.
Yeah, and they have a dinner and they're yelling at each other and getting a big fight because he's like, I don't even know, he's being a shithead or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just disappear.
Yeah.
They just straight up disappear from the movie. We hear them arguing off camera and then they're gone.
Lucy, I really hate to see you leave like this.
I am leaving you first.
Oh, no, you're not. You know what? Last one is a rotten egg.
And I'm like, I wonder how if Peter Dinklage wasn't yelling at somebody on set and was like, you know what, fuck this, I'm leaving. Because like what you hear is like, I'm leaving. No, I'm leaving. No, I'm leaving. I'm like, I feel like that was a real conversation they rolled on off camera, and then they just were gone from the movie.
Because Peter Dinklage like, you honestly gonna have this guy, this British twat playing a little person when you have more.
I am leaving you first.
Oh, no, you're not. You know what? Last one is a rotten egg.
There's a scene during that dinner where Kate Beckinsale picks up the baby, and this is one of the worst cases of fake baby since Pass Through and since...
I don't know. There was a scene where Matthew McConaughey and her were like screaming at each other at the house where fake baby was very fake baby.
Just say the word one time, Carol. What's his condition? Huh? 10 months you hadn't said it one time.
Oh, well, okay, yeah, there's a lot. That's what I mean. This movie in general has lots of very
now, if you're talking like American Sniper,
it's not American
fake
Sniper.
baby.
But here's the thing: the scene where they're having dinner, she picks up the baby out of the thing next to her. And she picks it up, and I don't know how much you know about babies, but when you pick up babies, you got to support the head.
Well, no, you whiplash them.
She grabs it by the midsection and wrenches it out of the head. Just like, it's like a 3-week-old baby. It just snaps its neck. I was like, oh god. So then Matthew McConaughey shows back up. His name's Steven. We just never mentioned it. Shows back up at the cabin and to kind of check in on things. And he shows up and he's like, hey, give me another chance, basically.
I'm trying to be the man that you want me to.
You gotta want it too, Steven.
And this scene is so confusing to me because
what is the point of the scene?
I don't know, but well, the point is that it's Matthew McConaughey's last scene. That's
Yes.
the point. But what I didn't understand was that so he shows up and he's like, "Give me another chance." And at this point, and she's like, "No." And I'm like, "Yeah, why would she? Like, you're the one who left. You were the one who was like, fuck this."
I can't take it. And it's obvious that I'm just making things worse.
And then he comes back, and then he's like, "But it's my baby."
I want to show it. All right? If you just give me another chance. So what are you gonna do, Carol? You gonna live up here in the woods like a couple of hippies?
And I'm like, well, what evidence does she have that you have changed at all? Like, this is the first time she's talked to you.
What evidence is there that anybody's changed at all?
Nobody, because nobody has changed in this movie. But and he's like, but it's this weird thing where it seems like he's pleading with her to come back when it was very clearly it felt like their motivations changed and they forgot that he was the one that left or said like, we should stop doing this. And now I get, obviously, I guess he had to change of heart or whatever. But then he kind of doesn't, because then he walks over the baby and looks at it and is like, nah, fuck it, and leave. Fucking nonsense. But we got to get to it. This is it. This is the end of the movie, Kyle.
Kate Beckinsale, I need you to come back. I can't pay the rent myself.
Yeah, that is a big place they have.
Yeah,
So I'm sure he has struggling a bit.
Is the night scene right?
Well, yeah. Yes. Well, first it's the one where he like at one point the baby's crying. He goes in and gets it and is like taking care of it, and it like makes Kate Beckinsale real wet for him because she's like, oh my god, he's taking care of my baby. Then. So this is the final 2 minutes of the movie.
Brain explodes.
Here's what I was writing. So the scene, she can't sleep. It's the night Matthew McConaughey showed up and left again. She can't sleep. Gary Oldman comes up and goes, hey, and she's like, I'm sorry, I'm stressed out, I can't sleep. He goes, hey, come with me. And they go outside and they light a fire. And they're like sitting by a fire pit out in the woods. And I'm like, oh, I see what's gonna happen here. I'm gonna try to walk you through what happened to me in this moment. I'm gonna do my best. I'm writing notes on my laptop as I'm watching the movie. And I go, okay, I see what's going on here. This is gonna be sort of the burden of Gary Oldman's character. He's gonna be the bridesmaid, never the bride. That's gonna be the sort of the sad French message of this movie. Is that Gary Oldman, she's gonna try to come on to Gary Oldman, and he's gonna have to be like, no. You're my brother's wife. That's their child. He's going to resist her advances. This is what I was thinking. He's going to have to resist. But it's going to be sort of like the point is that we're supposed to reflect in the sadness of Gary Oldman's sort of plight in life or lot in life, that sort of thing. And as I'm writing these notes about what I think this is, I'm writing, he's going to be like super chivalrous and stop. And then immediately my sentence changes into, nope, they're fucking kissing. You can kiss me if you want. What the fuck? The movie just ended. What? Absolutely what? What the fuck? What? Question mark 74 exclamation points. Not 74, but oh god. So they're sitting there on the couch, and like I said, I'm writing these notes, and then she goes, they're looking at each other, and she goes, you can kiss me. And he kisses her. And the movie ends.
Writer. All right. So fuck Matthew McConaughey. Yeah. I'm hotter than him.
Yeah. I was like, what just happened?
And by the way, the moral of this movie, how to bang your sister-in-law.
Yeah, right. And that's what I was talking about. Oh, it's like, how fucking awkward are family holidays gonna be? Yes.
Here's the thing. Matthew McConaughey had no reason to hate Gary Oldman up until this point.
No, but now he does. And it's just, I didn't get, again, okay. So I guess the whole time we're supposed to be rooting for Gary Oldman, like kind of like, and hope like, because he's like sort of the put upon a person. He's suffered from all these physical maladies his whole life. And he's kind of always been you know, he has a very handsome, successful older brother or twin brother who's, you know, average height or whatever. And he's, you know, a little person, that sort of thing. And so finally, by just being nice and being cool, he gets Kate Beckinsale. I guess this is the I don't know. But yeah, and then so that happens, and then it starts playing fun road trip rock music during the credits. That's not totally appropriate.
Goddamn early 2000s.
That's not remotely totally appropriate. You just had this crazy weird ending, like fucking left field ending.
You do that thing where doesn't it like the camera goes up to the stars, right? Is that
maybe I don't remember.
Like
yeah, probably.
And then when the credits start, let's go.
Yeah. Let's go and fuck my sister-in-law. This movie's fucking bonkers. I gotta go good, bad. The ending of this movie, and I'm almost sorry to spoil it. Like, I almost want to go back. I'm gonna put a note in. I'm gonna put this. Okay. This is Brian coming to you from the future. If you've never seen this movie and you don't know how it ends, do yourself a favor. Don't look it up. Just watch it. Yes. It's worth it for the ending alone. Now, I'm going to go back to the future now. All right, we're back.
God.
I'm dropping that in the front.
Holy crap.
Because I don't want the not knowing that ending is such a wild experience to me. Yes. And the way it just so abruptly ends and there's like zero denouement. It's just like, they kissed, it's over. The fuck out. I loved it. And I couldn't get enough of Peter Dinklage and his accent. I couldn't get enough of watching Gary Oldman walk around on his knees. And I couldn't get enough of Kate Beckinsale's hip bones, so it's a good watch for me. But
when I watched it the first time, I didn't want to really do it. I thought it was bad.
Yeah.
But now rewatching the whole thing, good bad.
Yeah,
it's amazing. Good bad.
Well, the thing for there's aren't that many laughs throughout. There are in the silly watching Gary Oldman walk on his knees stuff. It's not like that ridiculous throughout, but it really is all for that final
It's like watching somebody speed box, and then right at the very end they go pow and just knock out. It's amazing.
Yeah, or it's like watching somebody who's really bad at boxing, like struggle against Mike Tyson for 10 rounds, and then in the final round, they just out of nowhere uppercut Mike Tyson, and his head flies off into outer space. That's the way this movie is. It's that much of what just happened.
So me playing Mike Tyson's punches.
Yeah, exactly. But so yeah, that's why I would classify it as good bad. All right, that's it for Good, Better, Bad, Bad number 54. A few things. One, patreon.com/GBorBB. You can support us there. Mm-hmm. We just recorded the second part of Pseudo's Broken Dreams.
Power through a good, 30
minutes or so?
About 30 minutes.
It's going to be a 3-part series. This will be part 2 coming out shortly. Third part's going to be the best part. I have a feeling. We haven't recorded it yet, but look out for that one. The merch store is on its way. It's not the reason it's taking so long. A little let you in on some information here. Good, Bad, or Bad, Bad is organizing as an LLC. We're becoming a real company, and
we are becoming assimilated.
Yeah, which is taking a bit of work and some obviously coordinating with lawyers and that sort of thing. So we're in the process of that. Once that's all done and wrapped up is when we'll do the merch store so that we have all of that sort of organized. We'll open the merch store and we're gonna have all kinds of stuff. You'll be able to buy coffee mugs with our faces on it or whatever, which will be, great, I guess. If you're weird.
Fun.
Also, I have a podcast called This Film Is Lit, where we talk about movies that are based on books. The next episode that will be out at the time. So the one that will be out at the time of this being out is The Stepford Wives. The one coming up after that is The Martian. So those are the next ones coming up. Also, check out Luna and the Moonling on Steam. It's a fun puzzle game by one of the fans of our show, Mr. Jesper Meforce. He corrected me after the last episode. I believe it's me.
You said My Force, right?
I said My Force. I believe it's Meforce. Me4. Yeah, Me4, maybe. God, I got it
all
wrong.
we know is the dude rocks. The dude's amazing.
Badass artist, and he made a really cool puzzle game called Luna and the Moonling. You can get it on Steam for $10. It's a little top-down puzzler with you switch between characters, and it's real chill, real fun. I had a lot of fun playing it. Oh, got to do this. I almost forgot, but I told him I'd do it. Hey, Scarface, happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday, man.
It's one of our biggest.
Hope you passed your driving
test. He did pass his driving test. So congratulations, Scarface, for passing your driving test, and happy birthday. This movie comes out this episode comes out on your birthday. We didn't do the movie you wanted because I didn't look at it. Sorry, but
parallel parking sucks.
Yeah, but anyways, you're one of our biggest fans. So congratulations on being a year older, I guess, or whatever. So that's gonna do it. Until next time, keep watching movies,
especially Tiptoe. It's insane.
It's so. Oh, just real quick. No! Okay, real quick. We got 20 seconds. Kyle, look at me. Why do they do the stretch on the letters in the titles?
I don't know.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Why do they
doesn't mean anything?
Because I was like, is it supposed to be little people because they're whiter, but they're not, I don't get it. Little people aren't whiter. They're just shorter.
I don't know, but it stopped recording.
Damn it!